guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat and today I'm going to do a quick video about some of my romance recommendations just in time for Valentine's Day. So I got this pink wine at the store the other day and I love really sweet wines. So I'm hoping that this is like a Valentine edition. It's hibiscus, lime, and pomegranate, so we'll see. Oh, it's actually terrible. Well, okay, well not terrible, but like, okay, so that was not as cute as expected, but I am going to use this as my cool down beverage during this video because it is freaking toasty here in Australia right now. Okay, so the deal is that I have 10 books to talk about today, my ultimate favorite romance right now, 3 contemporary, 3 fantasy, and 3 forbidden romances. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. So the first one I want to talk about is my favorite book right now and my favorite romance read right now, and it is The Reckless Oath We Made by Bryn Greenwood. I have raved about this in my best books of 2019 and it's been all over my lists, but I just wanted to put it in the romance list. If you haven't heard about this, it is following 2 main characters, alternating points of view. And we follow Z, who is a very strong, independent woman who was in a motorcycle accident and she's going to physical therapy when she runs into Gentry, who is a man who is on the autism spectrum who hears voices. And he meets her at physical therapy and is told that he has to be her knight, essentially. He has to be her protector. So for a long time he's trying to talk to her and she's like, no, it's weird, I don't know you, until the day when Z's sister, who works at a prison, is kidnapped when some of the prison inmates escape, and she is going to set off after them, and Gentry decides to help her and they set off on this adventure together. This book is 5 out of 5 stars in my opinion. I love Greenwood's writing style. She makes everything totally gray. Every single character has really good and really negative aspects to them, and I just fell in love with Gentry so much, and it set off like a sword thing for me because one of the things is that Gentry, he believes that he is actually like a medieval knight and he trains with medieval weapons, like real ones, and he is building his own castle, and it's very much like just done in such a beautiful way. I feel like I'm not describing it well enough, but if you're looking for a romance which you will remember for a long time, I if there's a level above highly recommend, then it's there. Maybe the level above highly recommend is just you should read this, because if you don't, I don't even know what you're doing. So yeah, so I'm gonna put down my fave and we're gonna talk about 3 in each of the categories that I want to bring to your attention. So one of the 3 contemporaries that I want to talk about is A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert, and this follows 2 characters in a small town where gossip and rumor is law, and we are following Ruth, who is essentially a shut-in after something really devastating happens to her, but she is a webtoon illustrator and she is a plus size and she's black and she is very set in her ways, and she has decided that the way she's going to deal with the trauma that has happened is that she's just going to never see or talk to any of those people. So basically the only person in her life is her sister, until one day she gets a new neighbor, and that is Evan, who is an ex-military man who is a welder, an ironsmith, a blacksmith, and he makes wrought iron things. And the story goes from there. I just finished this book as one of my reads for February for Black History Month, and this was so cute. So the main thing that I loved about it so much was all of the fab rep, and I also loved the banter between the 2 main characters, between Ruth and Evan. It was Lord, oh gosh. So I would be reading it next to my husband and I would just, when you get so embarrassed about a scene or you're so into the scene that you just kind of want to laugh and smother your face in a pillow because you want to read it, but it's also embarrassing, but also it's just kiss already. That's a lot of how this book is. So I really recommend it, and I will absolutely be continuing on in this series. So it just so happens that another contemporary I read this month is by Alyssa Cole, A Duke by Default. So this is number 2 in the series. So we are following Portia, who's kind of like a New York City socialite. She decides to take an internship across the ocean with Tavish, who is a sword maker. So he makes historically accurate weapons, and if you're sensing a theme, because this sounds very similar to Gentry from A Reckless Oath We Made, yes, I'm aware, and also I love it. So she decides to take a sword making internship, and things go from there. He is very much like kind of the sourpuss, and he's kind of the dour one, the very uptight one, and she's kind of like the bubbly one. Highly recommend it. It was very good. And I will be continuing on in the series for sure. Also, I think I forgot to mention, but the main character, Portia, she is a black woman who also has ADHD. And the last in the contemporary section is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. This is another one that I read last year, and it was so good. It was so cute. So this follows Kai, who has never been really interested in dating because he thinks that he can't love after he goes to the funeral of one of his best friends in the world, and he doesn't cry, he doesn't like show any type of emotion, and he's convinced that he's just not fit for any sort of relationship. Unbeknownst to him, Kai's mom actually goes to Vietnam searching for a potential bride for him, and finds Esme, who she convinces to come back with her to the US to try out and see if they like each other, with the prospect of marriage, potentially if they get along. I thought the development in this was so sweet. I'm not sure about the autism rep. Again, autism and ADHD for all of these books, I'm not exactly sure on the rep, but I thought that the development of the character relationship was so sweet, and I really loved both of the main characters, and it's just very sweet and endearing, and I really loved this book. So if that sounds like a contemporary that's up your alley, then go for it. I also forgot to mention that Kai has autism, and that is a huge element in this book. Yes, so oddly enough, I think that without even planning it, 3 of the books so far have autism rep, The Bride Test, The Reckless Oath We Made, and A Girl Like Her. Just happened that way. Okay, so now let's get into fantasy. So I want to talk about Princess Ever After by Katie O'Neill. So this is actually for young readers, and we are following 2 princesses. So there is Amira, who is a princess who doesn't want to be married to a man, so she runs away, and she is a princess of color. And then we're also following Sadie, who is trapped in her castle, and she is a full-bodied princess. When the 2 princesses meet, Amira actually saves Sadie from her castle, and they go from there off on an adventure. And this is so sweet. I highly recommend it. It does have a female-female romance, so I just love the story. It's one of my favorites by Katie O'Neill. Highly recommend. Okay, next up for fantasy, I have Prince of Air and Darkness here by M.A. Grant. This is an MM fantasy romance with fae and magic elements. So this is basically a magic school where Phineas has powers, very strong powers that he can't control, and his roommate is Lord Rourke, who is an unseelie prince of the Dark Fate Court. And it is definitely like a hate to love. There's so much misunderstanding, there's so many tensions between like the realms, and it's not afraid to get dark either. So this, to me, just craps all over Carry On. I'm sorry if you really like Carry On. Carry On was lukewarm for me. I know, I'm a heathen, I'm very sorry, but I loved The Prince of Air and Darkness, and this is a trilogy I haven't continued on because I'm scared of what's going to happen, because the first book left us on a very perilous note, so I'm really scared, but I highly recommend this as a romance. It is so good, so yeah. So the last one I want to recommend for fantasy is Silk and Steel by Ariana and Nash. This is an MM fantasy romance as well, except that this one is much bigger world building, and I would say general darkness. So this one is following an elven assassin, Erwin, who's sent to kill the queen of the Amethyst Dragon Clan, which is one of the strongest dragon clans. And he is thwarted by Prince Lysander, who is the gay dragon prince, but the mother has issues with him because she wants him to breed and create like more progeny, but he's like, no, I don't want to. So there's all this tension, and he decides if he can't live his own life, he might as well save the life of someone else. So he saves the elf from certain death, and things go from there. So starts out elven assassin, prince of a dragon clan, and it gets so much bigger. Like, this whole world has 3 types: dragons, fae, and humans. And the world building is so complex, and there's so many different things that are moving, that this honestly feels like it's not even like, I wouldn't even put it in a romance category. I would definitely put it in a fantasy category, because romance is one of the main elements, but the world building is so excellent and so complex that yes, it's so good. Highly recommend. If you like really strong fantasy narratives and you like dragons and elves and lots of times, fun times, scary times, sexy times. Yeah, all in this book. Okay, so the last 3 that I'm going to talk about are forbidden romances. So if forbidden romances are not your thing, then go ahead and just click off of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will chat to you guys in another video soon. But if forbidden romances are your thing, then I have 3 different ones to talk about, and they are all very juicy. So the first one that I want to talk about is Stepbrother Dearest by Penelope Ward. This one completely blew my socks off by how steamy it was, I think. Like, I was like, whoa, I'm in a fire. I need someone to put it out because it's so hot. So this is basically following a family which is combined. So there's the sister, and then her father remarries and brings a son into the family. So it's the stepbrother. They're not at all blood related, and she develops feelings, but of course, like, the kids know that like nothing can happen. There's just so much tension. And then we fast forward to them a little bit later. They haven't seen each other in like a freaking decade, and they're both adults now, and holy crap, just like 5 out of 5 chili peppers on this one. So if that's not your cup of tea, if that's too close to the gray line for you, I totally get it. Let's move on to the next book. The second forbidden romance I want to talk about is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. If you haven't heard of this and you do like forbidden romance, where have you been, man? It is so good. So this is an age gap romance where we are following Jordan, and she doesn't have anyone looking out for her, and she pretty much has to fend for herself. And she is with her boyfriend, and they get kicked out of their apartment, and the boyfriend's father decides to let them crash at his house while they get themselves back on their feet. And something starts to happen between Jordan, the girlfriend, and the boyfriend's father, Pike. Now, I'm just gonna say a few things before everyone gets their panties in a twist. So first off, when anything happens between her and Pike, it is absolutely consensual. Second thing, at that time, she is also not seeing her boyfriend anymore. Third thing, it is never a power dynamic thing. It is absolutely not. I just love it. So I highly recommend this for you if you like forbidden romance, and also, again, the tension and the sweetness. This book is so sweet, like sugar-coated forbidden sweet. And the last forbidden romance that I want to mention is Welcome to the Dark Side by Giana Darling. This is actually number 2 in a series, but this book stands out from all the rest because it is just such complex character development and like backstory building that it's so stuck in my mind that I think it kind of transcends a lot of the formulaic writing that you might see in the romance genre, especially a motorcycle club genre, and it's its completely own thing. So this is following Zeus and Lou, and when we first meet them, Zeus is the president of a motorcycle gang club, And Lou is a little girl, like I think she's like 6 or 7, and she is coming out of church, and the motorcycle gang is coming around the corner, and there is a shootout between gangs, and Lou is caught in the crossfire, and Zeus actually goes to protect her and ends up killing someone to kind of defend her. He's sent to prison, and she ends up writing to him in prison, and at first he doesn't want to write her because he thinks like it's weird to write a 6-year-old, but then she's writing about how she was just diagnosed with cancer. So he talks to her through letters throughout her childhood as she is battling cancer and like going through all these different changes in her life, and he acts as kind of like a comforting figure to her. And then she grows up, and then it's a different story. And this was just so good, so hot, so perfect that I couldn't. I immediately read like the next book in the series, and it was not as good. I read the first book and the third book as soon as I finished this book, and the second book is just so good that, yeah, I think it's gonna be my #1 motorcycle club book like of all time. It's so very good, so very hot. So if you like bad boys, age gap, forbidden romance, like the one where it's like the younger is pursuing the older, also like misunderstandings, also like very gruff and very like bubbly. So yeah, please let me know. Oh look, there, he's right there. That's the sound of a motorcycle. So please let me know your thoughts down below if you agree with me or not. Also please leave some romance recommendations for me. You guys who watch these videos, I think, know maybe my reading taste a bit better than the average person. So if you think that you know a romance that I might really be able to sink my teeth into, then let me know down below. I wish you guys a happy Valentine's Day, a happy Galentine's Day, a happy Guys-in-Times Day, is that a thing? A happy Friends-in-Times, a happy Heart Day, a happy whatever day. Tomorrow, for Valentine's Day, we have vegan cupcakes with pink icing that we have ready to go, and we're gonna watch Laura Jean, P.S. I Still Love You, which is the second one. So thank you, Netflix, for all the blessings. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. That would be amazing. I will chat to you all in another video soon. Bye!